Hi, guys. Welcome to another episode of our podcast, Talent First. Today, we have a guest who's doing analytics, building new age solutions in a very fun industry. You will get to know which industry that is. First time I met him was at an award show, was at an event where he presented us with an award. So, that was a very good way to meet for the first time. So, hi, Vijoe. Hi, how are you?
Hey Raghav, how are you, man?
How are things going?
Very good. With you?
Very good, very good. So I think with you I can't speak in Hindi, what I've been told.
My Hindi तो बहुत बुरा है यार.
Perfect. So Vijoy, the way we start is, as you know, an elevator pitch. So who is Vijoe Mathew?
A data science enthusiast, put it that way, right? I work today for AB InBev.
Yeah.
AB InBev is the world's largest brewer. Most of the biggest brands in the world, right? Budweiser, Stella, Corona, Lafite, all of this comes from our
Which is your favorite out of those?
Mine is Corona.
Corona.
Right? And I lead non-commercial analytics in my company, right? I've been in this space for about 20 years. Long years with Tesco as a retailer, 2 years with Honeywell, and last 5 years with ABI. Outside of work, I love jogging, I love cycling, I love farming, right? So that's what I do.
Perfect. So Vijoy, let's take a step back. Let's try to understand how did this journey start? Where were you born?
I was born in Kerala, and I like everybody, right? So when I was growing up, there were a few options, right? If you are decently intelligent, you'll go for engineering. If you're super intelligent, you'll go for MBBS or
Yes.
BDS.
And what were you?
I was decent.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
I was decent, so I did thought of engineering. And somebody told me at that time that mechanical is
the future.
evergreen, right? So I thought I'll do mechanical engineering. So those times, like 20 years back, we don't have that kind of exposure. I come from a very small town, right? Not a very big city. So I thought I'll do mechanical engineering because a lot of people said mechanical is evergreen. I did my mechanical engineering, and by the time I finished in 2001. The whole market was about Java and e-commerce, right?
E-commerce had come by then.
E-commerce was
2001.
2001, right?
Because in India at that time there was one Bazi.com, which was acquired by eBay.
Yeah.
At the global level there was Amazon or Alibaba, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah. But at that time, everybody was going for either Java or e-commerce courses.
Okay.
Because everybody felt that this is the future.
So like a dot-com bubble kind of
like
thing.
a dot-com bubble kind of thing. So so I thought that, okay, let me do e-commerce, right? So I went to Chennai and studied e-commerce for a few months. And then I thought that my heart is not in that.
Tell me one thing, sorry to break the flow. In 2001, how were you thinking of e-commerce as a student? Like, what was the saying around? So, for example, now we see e-commerce everywhere. Now, e-commerce is commerce.
Yeah.
That time in 2001, were people seeing that, or were they just saying that, yeah, a new thing of...
Next big thing that's going to happen.
That was the thing.
It was not there.
But
people are saying,
like the way people talk about generative AI.
Exactly. That today people talk about Gen AI, right? So at that time, people were saying, guys, the next big thing is e-commerce. You should learn e-commerce, right? So I did for e-commerce course. It's a software programming course and all of that. 3 months I did. My heart was not in it. But partly I was doing my GRE and all of that. And I cracked my GRE. And I went for my master's, right? I went for master's in industrial management. It's pretty much like an MBA for engineers, right? So I did it in Belgium, Catholic University of Leuven.
How come Belgium? Why Belgium?
Belgium is interesting because I come from again not a very affluent family as such. So I was obviously everybody's first preference would be US, Australia, Canada, and all of that. But that's not something that I could or my parents could afford at that time. And my friends, or rather my cousins who were much senior to me, some of them told me that in Europe, education is pretty much free, right? The cost of education in Europe, if you crack a scholarship, right? Yeah. It's pretty next to zero. You don't have to pay anything.
Really?
Yeah.
How much do you pay? Do you remember?
I paid literally, you won't believe it or not, for my entire master's, right? I would have paid like 50,000 rupees.
What?
At that time,
50,000 rupees.
50,000 rupees. It was like 1,000 euros.
How is that? Can you explain us?
No, so in Europe, right? In Europe, in most of the government-funded universities, the fee is next to.
Let's say the fees is free.
Fees is free.
There is tickets. There is accommodation. There is food.
Yeah.
How do you afford that?
Of course, right? So I'll get there, right? So when I went, people said, guys, you can go do part-time job and sustain yourselves, right? So I went. So I got a scholarship. My fees was not much. I took a small bank loan, so that for some months I felt that I may have to sustain myself.
Yeah.
So I took a loan and all of that, and then went to Belgium. And then I reached Belgium. The situation is very bad because it's a Flemish-speaking country, right? Nobody speaks English in that country. To do every part-time job, you need English, right?
Yeah,
most jobs.
Yeah.
But some great, Indians are everywhere. So I had a great friend there, who's a great friend today. He was running a restaurant, a Punjabi, Sardar, right? He was running a restaurant. He was married to he came there. So he somehow reached there in Belgium, and he married a local Belgian lady, and he was running a restaurant. His restaurant was very successful, and his wife was running the restaurant. So I started working there. So I was a cook, I was a waiter, I was a cleaner.
Really?
Yeah.
Cleaner.
Everything.
Wow.
There's no work which I haven't done, right?
Wow.
So
how was it? Fun?
It was fun. So I started there as a not full-time, right? After my uni, right? Whenever I get time in the evening, right? Pretty 6 to 12, right? I used to do, it's all tandoori. I can say that I'm very good at tandoor, cooking, right? How to make your, what do you call that? Your bread in tandoor and all of that I know very well because I used to do that. And after that, I got a job in a pub there as a barman.
So you always had something for alcohol.
I always had something to do with beer, right? So I was working in a Punjabi restaurant like 3-4 hours every day. Then after that, because pubs and all get live only after 11.
But in pubs you make a lot of money in tips, na?
Pubs you make a lot of money in tips, right? But in Leuven you won't make much money in tips because Leuven is a student city, right? Right. So
but in Europe there's a good culture of tipping, right?
There's a good culture of tipping. If you do it in UK, you'll make decent money because there is tips. In a student town,
fair enough. They don't have money only.
They'll have enough money to just buy a beer, right? They don't have money to do tips and all, but decent, right? So I was working as a barman and in a restaurant after my uni time. So that's how I sustained. So I was there for pretty much 1 year. I did my master's in industrial management. I did that. Then I felt that for some reason, it's all, you never know how life goes, right? I thought I should do a master's in, I thought that I should do a master's in statistics, basically, right?
This is 2022.
22.
No,
2002, right? 2002. So I felt I should do a master's in statistics. Even that word doesn't come to me very quickly, right? And I again applied for a scholarship.
In Belgium only?
In Belgium only, in the same university. And luckily, I got an admission there in statistics. I gave it a try for a few months, but then I found that it's too difficult for me. Not an easy, right? All I learned in statistics is Greek alphabets, right? Alpha, beta, gamma, darat, because entire statistics are all about Greek, right? So then I moved to UK from there.
How did UK happen?
It's interesting because I'm a Mallu basically, right? And for Mallu,
tell us how. Okay, so let's say I know who a Mallu is. Yeah. But if a person who's watching this doesn't know who a Mallu is,
I'm from Kerala.
So okay, right? Mallu is someone who's from Kerala.
Mallu is somebody from Kerala.
But there are certain stereotypes also people have with Mallus.
Of course.
What are those stereotypes?
I don't know, man. Maybe our pronunciation, right? We have a very high influence for mother tongue when we speak, right? A lot of things, right?
Yeah.
So basically for us, for people from my state, their Mecca is Dubai, right? Or Middle East. So I thought I should be going to Dubai.
Did they go as construction and all in that industry also, right?
Yeah. If you go to Dubai, I think half of Middle East would be from my state, right? So I thought I got an engineering degree. I got a master's from Europe. Maybe I should encash it in Dubai, right? And I have a lot of relatives and friends in Dubai.
At that time, Dubai was not that developed.
It was.
It was?
It was a happening place. 2000 is like 20 years back, right? 2002 is like 20 years back. So I thought I'll go to Dubai, and I was making my plans for that. But one day I was in my pub working there.
You were always in the pub, huh?
Working. I was always working, right? I was always working, right? So, and there was again he was again a Sardar, right? For some reason, Sardars played a huge role.
We're just talking
in
about
my
one.
life, right? Yeah, one Sardar was there. He said, what are you doing? And all that. He said, I did my masters here. I'm planning to go to Dubai. He said, why Dubai? And he's from UK. And he said, you can't come to UK. I said, how can I come to UK? You need visa to come to UK. Right? He said, there's something called working holiday maker visa, which is like a 2-year visa for Commonwealth youngsters, countries, right? If you're 25, if your age is below 25, and if you're from a Commonwealth country, you can get a 2-year visa.
That's not there anymore, but I think that was there.
It was there at that time.
Yeah.
I said, man, who will give him visa? Like, there are millions of Commonwealth citizens in the world. Will they all get visa in UK? He said, you just try, right? So the very next day morning, I go through the embassy in Brussels. I live in Leuven. I go to Brussels and I say that I'm an Indian citizen, basically Commonwealth citizen. My age is 23 or something at that time, and I want to go to UK for 2 years to do. It's a working holiday visa, right? And to my surprise, the person there, right, the consulate in charge, she asked, have you made your travel arrangements? So I don't know what is travel arrangements. Apparently, to get a visa, you would show that you're serious and you're traveling. So I got out and bought a ticket of Eurolines, the bus, right, for 50 euros. Goes back to the same place and she's okay. Please wait for 30 minutes. And I waited there. I got my 2 years visa.
Seriously?
Seriously.
Like in an hour?
Not even an hour, right? I went there. She just said that, you need to have a travel arrangement done to get the visa. I goes out. There was a Euroline office. Euroline is a very famous bus, which is a cross-continental Europe bus. Goes out, gets a bus ticket for 50 euros, comes back. In half an hour, I have my 2-year working holiday.
Do you think this could have happened if you were in India?
No, right?
No,
it wouldn't have happened if I was.
It's the European structures which are very clean.
Very clean, right? Very clean, right? And probably I could be the first person who is asking for this visa in their entire life.
Yeah.
Even I didn't know about it till this person came to my pub and he talked to me. So I got my visa. And now, I had to go to UK. I said, okay, now I got UK, let me not try Dubai for the time being, right? Because
UK is better.
UK sounds more fancy.
Yeah.
Europe.
Yeah.
So, and at that time I wanted to become a buyer. Because
Buyer,
a purchasing manager, right?
Procurement.
Procurement. I wanted to become a procurement manager.
That's a very interesting thought of career.
Yeah, because in MIM, I did my master's in Masters in Industrial Management. Different streams in that.
Okay. So resource allocation.
I took supply chain management, which is all about inventories, procurement, all of that, right? Distribution and all of that. So my dream was to become a buyer. So I went to UK. I took that bus, and unfortunately what happened is that's an interesting part. I thought I'm never going to get the visa. I took the bus, which is meant for like 2 days from that day. Right.
Oh.
A non-cancelable ticket for 2 days from there.
2 days you have to wind up everything.
I had to wind up everything and go to
Crazy.
UK. Right.
That's crazy.
Back, winds up everything.
Wow.
I don't know how much to wind up anyway as a student, right?
Still,
yeah. You have to say proper goodbye.
Mentally also you have to wind up.
Right? I'm working in 2 places as part-time. All of that. I'm doing my uni also. I need to discontinue that, all of that.
You left uni?
I left the second uni. I left, right? I was in 2 minds. When I was doing my second master's, I was doing 2 minds. So I had to inform the university, did that, inform my 2 employers that, and they were good friends of mine, right? Both places, right? In the pub and in the Punjabi restaurant. They're all happy that I'm doing something different in my life, right? So,
yes.
In 2 days, I had to pack up my bag and took my bag and go to UK, right? In UK, and at that time, I'm only left with like some 400
euros.
Pounds with me. When I converted it, it was like 400 pounds with me, right? Because I'd just gone to my hometown, spend money, all of that, right? And
so it's 400 pounds, you go to UK with a visa, 2-year visa.
Yeah, I got visa and my 400 pounds.
Then what happens?
I goes to UK. A friend of mine who was doing MBA. There are a lot of fake MBA colleges in UK, right? College of London and all of that, which will be run by again somebody from India.
College of London.
Right. So he was doing something like that. His intention was to stay in UK. Right?
I think College of London is good. I think you're talking about something else. I don't know.
So
something like that.
Something very not very famous college. Right?
Shady.
Shady. So he was doing that there because his intention was somehow stay in UK. So he says, "Man, Vijoe, UK is very expensive. So I'll find you a place called East Ham, and there you can find a bunker bed."
Bunker bed.
Bunker bed, right? Each bed will cost you £50 per week. right? So in a room there will be like 8 people.
Oh God! Wow.
Right, 8 people. It's like and 8 people. You'll get a bed in a bunker, right? It's like double decker,
Like a military.
like a military one, right? So you get one bed, right?
Wow.
So that was again run by a Sri Lankan. He was doing it in his house as extra. PG kind of UK version of PG, but our PGs are much better than that.
Yeah.
So I goes there because there you get food and
In 50 pounds you got food, stay.
Yeah.
Oh, very nice.
Food is like basic food, right?
Home cooked.
Yeah, food and your bed. But then I only have like little bit money left with me, and I need to find a job fast. And finding a job in UK straight away, finding a professional job in UK straight away without any experience is not easy. So I reached UK on the 27th of December.
Oh, just before New Year's.
Just before New Year. And in Trafalgar Square, there's a big New Year celebration that happens every year.
Yeah.
Right? It's very famous.
Yeah, I know.
So my friends invited me to that. So I goes to that. I thought I'll go there.
Right.
But I started much early. I thought that I'll go explore London.
Right. Let's see.
London and by the time by evening we'll go to the New York. It's not in any institution or anything. It's not a pub or anything. It's in Trafalgar Square. You are allowed to go with your beer or whatever you
it's
want.
like Church Street. Like you
Church Street, right? You go there, you party, you come back, right? So I went to London first time in my life. Next to Trafalgar Square, I saw a pub, right? And
pub is something which is really
pub
excites
always
you,
excites me, right? So something told me that why don't you ask the pub owner whether I can get a job there, because that can sustain me for some more time, right?
Yeah, straight away.
Yeah, but when I came to UK, my friends said that when Indians won't normally get job in pubs, because pub jobs are meant for Eastern European.
Yeah, because they watch the sports, they can speak the lingo.
All of that, right? So normally you won't see Indian barmen
in South Hall or somewhere.
Right, unless it's South Hall or somewhere, which is only Punjabis, right? So otherwise you wouldn't find pubs in Indian barmen, right? But whatever, I had nothing to lose. I go there and ask, can I get a job here, right? To my surprise,
they gave you.
I know. To my surprise, that the pub owner, the lady who was running that pub, Claire, she asked, I don't know, for some reason she asked my background, all right? Then I said, I told her my story. I was in UK, coming from India, in UK, in Belgium I was doing my masters. I was doing this part-time. I'm good at my craft as a barman, right? And now I need to find a job, professional job in London. But I need to sustain myself before I can have the bandwidth to find a job.
Yeah.
Maybe that's my background and my story kind of reflected with, it had an impact on her.
It was honest.
Yeah, I was being honest, and she thought maybe I should help this person. She said, why can't you come from tomorrow?
Wow.
So I got my first job in London, right? London barman, it's well-paid job, like you said. Especially in London, since you are very next to Trafalgar Square, most of your customers are Americans, and Americans has a 10% rule about tipping, right? They tip a lot. If your bill is $100, they tip 10.
And especially when they're drunk, they would tip more also.
Probably, right? Probably, right? So it was a good job. So I did that for 3 months.
Made good money?
Made good money. A lot of tip I get. So 3 months I was doing that. And partly I was trying to find a job, right? And everywhere I go, I get this question, right? Do you have any experience, UK experience? I have no experience. I just did my engineering, my master's, 0 experience, right? And 3rd month I got chickenpox, right? And in the UK, right? And
healthcare is very expensive there, right?
Yeah, healthcare is very expensive. But chickenpox, you don't need any healthcare, right?
You can't work.
You can't work, right? So I was down with chickenpox for a week, and in India there's a belief, right? Chickenpox brings luck. I don't know if you heard this.
I have not heard. What is this belief?
I don't know. Somebody told me after some time back, somebody told me that chickenpox brings luck. I don't know if it's true or not.
Yeah.
So what happened is your full face is with all these marks, right? All these chickenpox marks, right? And when I was about to come out of chickenpox, I get a call for the first time, for my first call in my entire life, right? Saying that there's a purchasing analyst role in Tesco in UK, right?
But how did they know about you? Because
I was applying in all portals. I was,
there were portals
a lot of portals were there, right?
Directories, phone directories.
So many of them. Online portals.
Recruitment agencies.
I was not saying quiet. Evening I was working, but full day I was doing all this stuff to find links to get a job. But no positive reply. But I was about to come out of this chickenpox, and somebody calls me and says, there's a job in procurement in Tesco, and Tesco is like the
biggest retailer.
it's a big brand in UK, right? And I'm like, man, a normal company won't take me, right, because I don't have experience. Tesco, and I'm not in a presentable format even because of all the chickenpox marks and all. I goes there, and I get the job, right?
Wow.
I get the job, right? So after 3 months in UK, I get my job. So I started as a purchasing analyst, and I thought it's all about learning procurement,
Analytics.
but it was all about BI of that time.
Power BI.
Not even Power
Business
BI.
intelligence, basic.
VBA,
Access.
Access, SQL, Excel, automation, all of that. I did that for 1 year.
Wow.
And I did that for 1 year. And I happened to meet the person who's actually running analytics for Tesco. Right?
That time?
At that time.
They were running analytics at that time?
They had analytics center of excellence.
2004?
2003, 4. Yeah.
Wow.
So I met him, and he asked me, we were in a party, in an annual party. So
You were having beer?
We were having beer again, right? Beer is a common factor. So he asked me,
We should have had beer in this cup also.
So because at that time, there were not too many Indians on the floor, right? Probably I'm the only Indian face on the floor. Now you can see a lot of Indians. At that time, too many Indians. So maybe my color. We were having a casual conversation, and he said, "What are you doing, Vijoe?" I said, "I'm doing analytics because I'm doing purchasing analyst role." He said, "What are you doing?" I talked about it. He said, "That's not analytics.
Yeah.
That's not analytics. Analytics is very different."
That's what happens now when you go in Koramangala.
Yeah.
Go to Blue Tokai, and any person who you meet who has a startup, they say, "I'm into AI."
Yeah.
It's not AI.
It's not AI.
You plug in, you can't put a plug in and say, "I'm AI."
Exactly right. So he said, "Vijoe, that's not analytics. Analytics is about, at that time it's SAS. There's no Python or R. There is statistics. There is algorithms, right? Typically your regressions and classifications and your time series and all of that." And I don't know, for some reason, he was so kind. He said, "Vijoe, if you want, I can mentor you."
Wow.
Right? He has no reason to
Tell me
that.
the role of mentors, right? What we have seen is, and the leaders that we have talked to, all of them have a lot of gratitude for the mentors they have found in their lives. Now, for new people who are looking at this podcast, tell us, how do you usually find a mentor? And then tell us in your journey, couple of mentors.
Yeah. So, man, you don't need to fear is all I would say, right? You have nothing to lose. Just ask.
Be vocal.
Be vocal, right? Ask. Or LinkedIn also, right? I get a lot of requests.
You do?
I do get a lot of requests. Right?
You're an influencer on LinkedIn, right?
I'm not an influencer on LinkedIn.
35,000 followers on LinkedIn.
No, not 35,000. Decent, right? So, but I'm not saying that I support everybody. But when you go through somebody's profile, you see what that person is trying to do. Somebody with a fire. Somebody, if you get a proper advice, he or she would do better in life. So I end up mentoring a lot of people. It's not for a monetary benefit.
Yeah.
Because it could be just a 1 hour time with them, giving them some guidance on what to do next, where to go next, how to approach. That makes a huge difference in everybody's life, right? So my take on to all the youngsters is be vocal. You have nothing to lose, but you do your homework, right? You cannot go and ask somebody to mentor you when you have done no homework, right? You find your area of passion, do some research, do some studies. I'm not saying that you should go and spend a lot of money on studies through an agency or whatever. YouTube itself
Give us an example. Let's say I am a person. I want to get mentored by Vijoe Mathew.
Yeah.
And let's assume I am in the AI analytics space.
Yeah.
What kind of message would I send to you that you would want to respond to me? Because I know you get like tens of these messages every day.
Yeah.
How do you give me an example?
Sometimes I get a message from somebody saying,
Tell me a message you won't respond to.
Yeah.
Tell me a message you would respond to.
Yeah. A grad who has done his engineering, any degree in engineering, he or she says that, I'm very inspired with the space of AI. I did a lot of Python courses and all in my free time during my course. I also did a lot of use cases from Kaggle and all of that. Bit of use case, not big use case, small use case, all of that. But I reach a point where I don't know how to approach it now, right? What's the next step? How to get a job in this
Fair
space?
enough.
How should I really upskill? Because whatever I did in my own space
Was theoretical and all.
Yeah, a bit of theoretical knowledge, right? But I don't have proper guidance on what to do next, right? If you can really help me, that will really help. I always go and help them.
Genuine cases.
Genuine cases, right? But there are people who do nothing, but they will say, I saw your profile. Your profile looks very interesting. You are doing great things in analytics. Can you mentor me?
You know what these guys do? I used to get these messages. I used to think, wow, people are messaging. Then I realized they're doing automation.
Yeah.
They are not sending it verbally, like physically, right? What they're doing is they're going in an automation tool like a Phantom Buster. In that tool, they download a list from LinkedIn. So in that list, they will put founder, CEO, Bangalore region. Minimum company is 100 people and above. They will make a filter like that. Use that search, put that in that automation tool, write a custom message like that, very generic.
Very generic.
And just change the first name and last name.
Exactly. So whenever somebody requests me for mentorship, right, I always go and check their profile. Because I am a person who hugely benefited
from mentors,
right, in my life. So I think it's something that
Any mentors you want to name?
You owe, right? My first mentor, his name is Gilbert Mackay. Yeah, he's a good friend of mine.
Tesco.
He's the person who took my interview in Tesco,
wow.
right? And no experience, but he felt that, man, this guy has done something in his life. All the way from India, he did a master's in Europe. He did all this hard work to sustain himself in Europe so long.
Right.
He has some fire in him to be somewhere, right? So first mentor is him. And the second mentor is the head of the analytics at that time, right? He was like, proactively he said, I can mentor you.
Yeah.
I started talking to him every week, like half an hour. He recommended some courses and all. Long story short, in 6 months' time, he offered me a role in his team.
Wow.
Right, because I did my SAS, I did my basic statistics courses, right, basic algorithms and all I learned. Not like I did master or anything. He gave me a role as a proper data analyst in his analytics team. There was no term called data scientist at that time.
Wow.
So he again, right, he has no obligation to help me, but he was very proactive. He helped me. That was the biggest thing, right? So, and I was there for pretty much Tesco for 9 years in UK. Different roles in Tesco, right? Starting with, there's no one space in Tesco in analytics which I haven't touched, pretty much. You name it, your sales, marketing, pricing, promotions, engineering.
You stayed there for 12 years, no?
12 years, right? So pretty much everything.
So for 10 years you were in the UK?
9 years I was in UK.
Then what happened?
In 2011 fag end, I decided to come back to India.
Why?
I always wanted to come back to India for some reason. I felt that...
Tell us the why.
I honestly felt, right?
Did you feel lonely in UK?
I can't say that I felt lonely in UK.
Not at home.
I didn't felt that I'm at home. Yeah. I felt that, there's much more I could do, right?
So as we were talking about, like you're coming back to India, that why? What I understand by talking to you is that for some reason you felt that in India, the kind of problems you will solve, the kind of things you will work on would be more than just crunching numbers, would be more than just looking at your computer screen. You will look beyond that. The context will come. That's the case?
Exactly, that's the case, right? Because we started the center in India pretty much in 2008, 9. And a lot of those guys started traveling to UK for meetings and all of that. I started meeting a lot of them.
Going out for dinner
with them, drinks with them, all of that, right? Again, beer, right? So what I felt is the exposure that they have sitting in India, I thought they are doing much ahead of what I'm doing in UK, right? So I told my company that, I know that you're building a center center for analytics in India. Why don't you give me a chance in India? And they were very kind enough. They said, man, that's an absolute perfect choice, right? You know Tesco very well. That's what they felt, which is not true, because I was more of a core data programmer, scientist, rather than a business, somebody with business exposure. But I took that offer, right? I took that offer and came to India in 2011 fag end. I started building teams in India. In
2011, when you came back to India, how was India different than what it is now? You came back to Bangalore?
Came back to Bangalore, right? 2011, it was, I can talk about data science, right?
Talk about data science.
Yeah.
Along with that, talk about corporate as a whole.
Yeah.
When you look at India.
Yeah. Starting with data science, which is my core, right? I felt that was the start of that, that era of analytics. The only company, or rather two companies which I knew that were doing analytics at that time, one was Musicma. Dheeraj Rajaram and Musicma were
Yes.
big. OGs, right?
Yeah.
And then Genpact, right? These were the only companies who were like
Pure play
analytics companies, so-called analytics companies, right? That was 2011. Look at 2023. India is the...
There are 15 Koramangala.
Yeah, there are every other building in Koramangala and Indira Nagar are a startup, right? Every delivery manager in Musicma started their own their own startup, and they're hugely successful now.
I think at least I was reading around 10 to 12 very big pure play analytics companies have come from Musicma.
Musicma. So even if you go, when we go to most of these events and all, right, what you see is that there is a Genpact or a Musicma connect to most of the founders.
And Amex also.
And Amex also, right? So that was the time then, and today look at it, right? It's India. I mean, India. So if you think about the whole AI market, right? It's basically US, China, and India. And in India, it is Bangalore. Bangalore is the happening place for analytics, right? So that's the biggest difference I see, right? Finding a resource at that time was like a hugely difficult thing. The definition of a data scientist was somebody with MSc statistics or MA economics.
Seriously?
Right, yeah.
Wow.
Right? And I used to get super happy when somebody has a CV with the word SaaS-based certified, right? And that I used to get only once in a while, right? But a profile which says, because at that time, the definition of a data scientist, you should be a statistician, basically. And you should be a programmer in SaaS. Fast forward to 2023, you won't find a profile without deep learning and machine learning, and now if I look at it, without Gen AI, right? That's how the market has gone. The exposure has increased. So many venues to learn data science. Futurense is a great example again, right? So many venues where you can go.
We'll play that again, okay? Futurense is a great example.
Right? It's a great example again, right? So many venues, right? Where you can go learn data science, explore, get a new job. That was not the case at that time, right? Very few people choose data science as a profession. As a profession. That's the biggest difference I see. Corporate-wise again, right? I think
the work culture, how has that changed?
Work culture again, right?
Pehle it was like in 2011, it was still mostly about cost arbitrage.
Yeah.
Today when I talk to people like yourself, I see real innovation happening where the work cultures are also mimicking their US, European counterparts.
Yeah. Of course, you're absolutely right, Raghav, right? But that applies to tech and analytics only, to be honest. Right? There is a cost arbitrage business, which is pure play, cost arbitrage. But tech and analytics and all, today nobody is putting India as a center just because there's a cost arbitrage. They're looking at the right skill set, talent, and believe it or not, we have centers across the globe. A data scientist in Prague costs only like 30% more than what I have to pay here in India.
That's it?
Right.
That's it?
Yeah. A data scientist in Brazil will cost only 40% more than India. So, we are not the cheapest place to put data science teams anyway. Our cost has increased significantly in data science. If you want great talent in India, in Bangalore, you really have to pay.
The quality of talent has become really good.
The quality of talent makes the biggest difference. So, people are coming to India, corporates are coming to India for the talent, not for the cost arbitrage, right? If it's pure play cost arbitrage, there are many other places in the world where they can build data science centers. If you want the real quality, I think India is one of the most preferred centers even today. So, of course, right, those two things are changed significantly.
So, you worked in Tesco.
I worked in Tesco for
2 years.
2 years here.
In India. And then what happened?
Yeah, so till then, honestly, I never knew that people change jobs, right? Because in UK, I only see people joining a company and retiring in that company. So when I came to India also, I bought my first apartment, in Whitefield, which is literally a stone throw distance from
everywhere,
from Tesco, right? Tesco's back gate and my back wall, the boundary wall of Tesco's campus, and my apartment used to be like 500 meters. Because the idea was like I was going to retire in Tesco. I need a place where I can easily go and have a lunch if you want at my home.
Yeah.
When I came to India, I saw that people are moving jobs. They are finding new opportunities.
Why do people move jobs usually, according to you?
I would say...
What do you think is the biggest reason why people move jobs?
So, the biggest reason obviously is career growth, is what I feel.
And by career growth, you mean role growth or money growth?
Both role growth and career growth. Sometimes what happens with many of us, right? And we also make this mistake when you are a leader. Sometimes we fail to reward your own talent, right? And that becomes a big problem, right? So I'll give one example, right? If I'm losing a talent today in my company, the cost of replenishing that person is much more than what I was paying to that.
But think about it, right? Think about from a company viewpoint. Let's say you have one person who's leaving you and is saying that, boss, I'm getting a 40% hike than what you're paying me, hypothetically, right? Or 20%, right? 25% hike than what you're paying me. And you just did an appraisal of that person 1 month, 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Now let us say you see that value in that person, that you can pay 20% higher also.
Yeah.
But the challenge is if you do that for him or her, there are 350 people other also sitting. What will you say to them?
There are 350 people sitting there. Every company has their own people policies.
Yes.
Right? You're working within that framework.
Yes.
You cannot take a call which is only yours. You have to work within the framework. So it's not easy.
Yeah.
So sometimes I lose talent, right? Best people. I know that even paying, the next level role that is aspiring or the pay that is aspiring is just.
Like if you ask me my strategy, if the talent is going for money, I don't try to retain them.
Yeah.
I would rather hire a more expensive person than demand more.
Yeah, demand more, right? So for me, people go for different reasons. Why do people work in a company? For me, there are 3 reasons why somebody in data analytics, at least tech and analytics, there are 3 reasons why somebody works for a company. One is culture, right? What is the culture of that company, right? I may be the best paid in that company, great positions. If I'm treated bad, the culture in that company is toxic. I wouldn't stay, right? Second is rewards and recognition and growth, right? Are you getting rewarded? Are you being recognized? Are you getting the respect? Are you getting the growth that is organic? Not saying exponential growth, but are you getting an organic growth? And the third is sorry. So the second one comes with remuneration anyway. If you're growing, your remuneration is growing.
Yeah.
Last but not least is the learning. With today's generation, you get them best salary, best jobs, best pay, best culture. Make them do the same job. They won't stay. Everybody wants to learn, especially in tech and analytics. Everybody's thought process is, how will I learn today and how will I capitalize
People are thinking like that?
They are thinking like that.
I know high performers think like that. But don't you think that like 70-80% of the people in the workspace are mostly like, I already know it, just I'm asking, don't you think that is the case?
I can talk only about my center.
I
can only talk about my center. I only bring the best.
Very nice.
There's nobody who's not a non-performer.
Fantastic.
Right? Typically,
that's a big deal.
Typically, my conversion rate is 50 to 1.
As in, matlab?
50 profiles, probably 10 interviews. In that 1%.
But with Futurense, the stats are different. But
Futurense, it will be different, of course, but today, it's 50 to 1.
Wow.
So I am pretty confident that I'm taking only the best in the market, right? And the best in the market wants learning, growth, and culture, right? So people leave for 3 reasons, right? If the culture is toxic, people will leave. If the remuneration is not good, people will leave. If the organic growth that they are expecting is not happening, they will leave. So 3 reasons. It's not one reason, right? 3 reasons why people leave an organization.
Fair enough. So now, Tesco, you stay there for 2 years. Then you see that in India, people move, and probably for growth.
And first time in my life, I made a CV. I didn't have a CV till my 10 years of experience, right? Now I had to make a CV in my entire life. Made my first CV, and by the time I was leaving Tesco, I was leading the entire
Business intelligence.
Analytics COE I was managing, right?
Wow.
That has the entire market.
You're pretty young at that time, right? For leading the whole thing.
I wouldn't say too young, 32 or something at that time, but 33 or something at that time. I was managing their entire analytics division, right?
How big was it?
That was pretty much like a 60-70 member team, right?
Pretty decent.
It has sales, marketing, bottom line. It had everything, right? It was a 70 member practice. I was leading that. I moved to Honeywell at that time. And
Honeywell, what does Honeywell do? I think there's a lot of confusion around Honeywell. What does Honeywell do?
Honeywell Honeywell is an engineering specialist company. But the space I went was very interesting at that point in time. Raghav, I don't know if you heard about GE going into the IIoT platform and they lost a lot of money on that. I don't know if you heard the
I
story.
have not heard of that.
Okay. So
Could you give us
G
context?
started G Digital. G Digital, the idea was, I forgot the name of that IIoT platform, right? They wanted to build this IIoT platform, and they had a 5 billion revenue
Target.
dream from that platform. They invested heavily on that platform, did extensive recruitment, all of that, built an entire practice, but that didn't really take off. So Honeywell is a company which really follows G because it's the same, same sort of space. They wanted to build their own IIoT platform called Sentience, and they wanted to build analytics as products, right? And they want to monetize those analytics products, right? Because in Tesco I was doing analytics as a service. The offer that I got from Honeywell was to be leading their analytics practice, right? And building data science products for refineries, for manufacturing companies, energy optimization suites, predictive maintenance suites, and you want to sell it to the Fortune 500s of the world. And I would say cutting edge work, the biggest scope we had at that time was drone-based services. At that time. 2016.
16.
Right? Drone-based services. So idea is Honeywell will own that service. I'll give an example, right? In the airliners, when they park, right, they need to check their entire somebody needs to check the entire outer space of the airline to see whether there's any cracks, any paint job that has gone bad, any bird hit or whatever. And that was a very manual task. What Honeywell was offering was, they will run the drone, and that video, we will do every sort of analytics. Every sort of analytics that's possible, like video analytics that you do. And we can tell within 30 minutes whether there is any challenges to the entire body of an aircraft. In US, they have this electrical poles that goes miles and miles, right? Every 6 months, they have to manually go and check whether there is any challenges, any pole which has bent a bit. Is there any beaver or anything that has put a nest on the pole? And somebody has to manually go and do everything. What Honeywell was offering was, we will do our drone-based service. We will run the drones, and we will do analytics on this video, and we can tell whether your poles are all in right position. Is anything that you should be careful about.
Advanced analytics.
Very advanced analytics. Like in China, we were doing drone-based services for solar farms.
Wow.
In China, we have solar farms which is like 500 acres and all. Somebody has to manually go and check whether all the sensors are working, any discoloration and all of that. So we were doing drones with infrared cameras to see the health of all these solar farms, every panel, and seeing which panel has gone bad. So cutting edge work, that was the offer on the table, and I took that role in Honeywell, and I was doing that role for 2 years in Honeywell.
So then Honeywell, I think this was in Bellandur only, right?
Bellandur, yeah.
Where in APR, the RMZ,
RMC.
that place.
Yeah.
So Honeywell, you stayed for 2 years.
Yeah.
Now in Tesco, you stayed for 12 years. I'm assuming you're a person who likes to stay longer.
I'm a person who would love to stay.
So then what happened in Honeywell?
Honeywell was very interesting, to be honest. Okay, right. But 5 years, the time I stayed in India in Tesco,
Yes.
right? I started learning a lot of business, right?
Context.
I was becoming a strategy analytics leader than just a technology leader
Very nice.
in Tesco.
That's the dream of any analytics leader.
Yeah, I learned more about Tesco after coming to India and traveling back to Tesco in UK to learn marketing, your sales, all the functions.
I think it's also the people around you, right?
People around you, right? 9 years I stayed in UK, I didn't learn about the business. After coming to India, I was traveling to UK every 3 months, learning business, all of that, right? And there was so much of context. In Honeywell, I got this very fancy job of building data science products. The word product didn't even exist at that time. Right? I was managing a team of 40, and they were all cutting edge, hardcore. They were all postdocs and docs from Germany and all that, like cool people. Very talented people that we were working with.
Very philosophical, talking big things.
Big things, all of that. But the challenge is, there, you are again a delivery.
Very research oriented.
Right? You don't
Action
you don't see your solutions being sold.
Implement, got it.
Right. You're building great solutions, cutting edge work, drone-based services, video analytics, text analytics, image analytics, all cool
You're
stuff.
in your own world only.
Yeah, but you don't know what your
What
solutions
happens?
are being used for.
Yeah, yeah.
I again started to get frustrating because
Oh, I can imagine.
I started loving a world where I'm close to the business, I'm solving their problems, I am implementing those solutions, I'm getting the dollar value of what they're bringing to the table. So I love value creation.
Yeah,
Right? I
yeah.
got addicted to the value creation theme. Honeywell was not helping with that agenda.
Fair
right?
enough. Fair enough.
It was good for a person who was very research oriented,
No, I got it.
and I was not that.
Yeah, yeah.
For me,
Action, you want
analytics is
action.
all about creating solutions and creating value out of that.
Yeah.
And I got frustrated, to be honest. And that was the time that ABI was building the center here.
And your love for beer got you in AB.
It was very nostalgic, to be honest, because right, my interview in ABI was very interesting because I studied in Belgium, in Leuven. Leuven is one of our head offices,
Yeah, I know.
right? We have one of the biggest breweries, Stella. And I used to go to a brewery because we can
Stella Artois.
Stella Artois.
Yeah.
We have a weekend offer where you
Yeah.
can go and have beer for a small entry fee for students. I used to go there, and there is this company, AB InBev, which I know from my college days,
Wow.
calling me for a job there.
Nothing like it.
And my interview was taken by Ricardo Farias. He was building the center at that point in time. And my interview was only 15 minutes. It was a very senior role.
This was in a pub.
It was not in a pub. It was in the office, which was a building at that time. He literally spent 15 minutes. He said, "What are you doing, Vijoe? You studied in Leuven." I said, I talked about Leuven. I said Stella. The fact that Jupiler is a very popular, Corona is my favorite beer in India because Jupiler you can't get in India. But if you ask me, any day my most popular beer is Jupiler. I don't know if you tried Jupiler.
Yeah, I've
right, Jupiler. The one with the red branding. Right. I loved that beer. That was my most popular beer, and I loved that beer at that time. I was talking very passionately about Jupiler, right? So I talked 5 minutes about Jupiler. I said, "Vijoe, you're selected." I said, "Are you sure? You never asked what I did in my life." I said, "Man, if you've done 15 years in
That's a
in
good
data
interview.
science,
That's
you
a
know
good
some
one.
stuff, right? I don't want to interview
I
you."
like it. Do you also interview like that?
I don't.
If people are applying for a job in AB InBev, can they also talk about the
No,
favorite?
no, very, on a serious note, right? Obviously, at this point of time, the interviews I'm taking is a last round.
Yeah.
But I look for passion, right? I look
Technicality is already sorted.
for, technical is always solved. I look for cultural fitness of a person, right?
If I come and interview with you, how do you know I'm a culture fit in your organization?
It comes with experience.
It's a vibe.
It's a vibe, right? The way you talk, the way you're passionate about the solutions you build. There are people who talk say that I was asked to build X, Y, Z. But people who talk about their passion, the way they build it, the pain they had to go through, the hardship that they will go through, the struggles they had, but still they delivered that solution. The happiness they found in that solution. You know, people, you can see somebody's passion when you're talking about their solutions that they build. There are people who just build it for the sake of building it because they were asked to build it. Then people who believe it and build it and they are so passionate about that.
Live and breathe it.
Live and breathe it. I love those kind of people.
Same.
So when I interview somebody, I just look for passion.
Same.
How passion? Because all the technical rounds
I
are
agree.
done.
I
Right?
agree.
So I look for passion, cultural fitness, right? I love people whom I can work very easily with. People who doesn't have an ego, right? Very light heart, right? Easy to work with. So I find people whom I can work with, right?
So you got an AB InBev with a fantastic interview.
Yeah.
Then, didn't you think like what I have been told, and I think I saw it one of the presentations only that you guys did at Beyond.
Yeah.
That AB InBev as a company got into technology analytics a bit later than opposed to other companies. Now they're very cutting edge stuff they're doing. But this was like 2013, 14 when they really embraced it.
Yeah.
So when you got in that company, before this you were in Tesco and in Honeywell, which were technology first, now aggressive on technology. What was the difference when you came here?
Yeah. So I joined AB at the right time, I would say.
2017.
2018, right? They're building the center, and AB is a company which has grown inorganically, right? A lot of mergers, acquisitions, all of. Saab Miller we bought in 2016, which was like
that was the biggest one.
116 billion or 106
What?
billion, 106 billion or something acquisition, right? One of the biggest acquisitions in
The world.
in the world, right?
Wow.
So we grew a lot inorganically, but we got to a point where now we have to grow organically because we bought pretty much everybody we could buy, right? So that's when we thought, man, we should invest on technology, analytics, AI, all of that. That's when we started building the center in India. Today, I'm part of GAC. GAC is Growth Analytics Center, and it's a 300+ strong organization.
That's in Mexico also, right?
Today it's in India,
Okay.
right? But we are part of ABI Analytics, which is pretty much a 800 strong organization. We have centers in Mexico, in Brazil, in Prague, in South Africa, in US, in Shanghai.
Wow.
You name it. Every continent other than Australia and the obvious Arctic, we have centers.
Why not in Australia?
We sold off the Australia business a few years back, right?
Okay.
Otherwise, except for Antarctica and Australia, every continent we have a data science center, right? Why it was the right time? Because we were coming from a place where no analytics to a place where we are from scratch.
Like a startup.
Right, it's a mecca for somebody like me who loves to create action solutions,
insights,
right? Insights, solutions, value creation. Because you look anywhere,
I can imagine.
There are only opportunities, right?
Yeah.
There is a
You're only going up. You're
only going up, right? Every day you're only spoiled for choices.
Yeah, I love
right.
it.
You know, every day there are 100 solutions that we can build, but we are super careful. We are very strong.
I also want to join AB InBev.
We have very strict prioritization framework.
Right.
And we take only 1% of what we comes our way.
Obviously.
Right? Because we only have limited resources. And that's why it's interesting, right? You name it, right? Your supply, your logistics, your procurement, your marketing, sales, your people. Today, we are touching every department, every domain in AB InBev with data and analytics. Right? Analytics is a very wrong word. I would say you leverage data, right? For me, what really makes a difference is the value creation. If A plus B equals C makes more value than an advanced algorithm like a regression or classification, I would do A plus B equals C. If a simple regression makes more value to the business than a deep learning technique, I go with a regression. So I'm not a person who
fixated
on. There are people who gets high on the solutioning on which technique they used, how did they over-engineer
You care about the outcome.
For me, it's an outcome, right? For me, I don't really bother about whether it's the simplest solution, just a normal time series, or the most advanced, deep learning technique, or a Gen AI technique. It doesn't really matter to me.
We'll come to Gen AI.
Yeah. For me, what matters is really the outcome, right? What value you're bringing to the table with analytics is which really excites me.
So Vijoe, tell me one thing, right? Now you're saying it's a multi-continent teams that you have, multicultural teams you have. Now a lot of people are trying to imagine that if they were a leader in a MNC or whatever you call it, how does your typical day look like? Do you talk to like many countries, or like you just talk to Indians? How does it work?
No, my role is about. So end of the day, I call myself a salesman.
Really?
Right. I believe that the best skill that you should have in life is salesman, because after a certain point in time, we all become salesmen, right?
Yeah.
What do I sell? I sell ABI as a company and its brand across the world. Why am I here today? I'm here talking about AB InBev, right? How great a company it is, how great a center we have, how great we are building talent, attracting talent, how cool our work is.
Yeah.
So I'm trying in this podcast also, I'm trying to sell my center, my organization to the entire market, saying, guys, anybody who's an aspirant and who's really good at data science, you should be aspiring to come to ABI. So I'm selling my company's branding outside. I'm being a brand ambassador to the company, right? Inside the company, I'm selling analytics to the entire business, because everybody is not analytically aware, right? Not very much.
Especially in a legacy company.
Legacy companies, right? I'm working with supply chain teams where people are 25 years in the same job, in same specialization. They don't know what data is and how data could transform. So I'm selling a dream to them, saying, guys, look at this scenario. In this use case, I was able to take this kind of data and I could transform that solution in 1 year, and that could realize 10 million in value for that business. Don't you think that you can also come to the same stage? There is huge opportunity in your space. Why can't we bring science there? How can we transform your job? How can you convert your job into a place which is creating a lot of value for business? So I'm selling my domain, which is non-commercial analytics, to all the domain leaders and business leaders in all 5 zones, right? From morning to evening, I'm selling it to, starting with China, to Africa, to Europe, to Brazil, US, and finally Mexico.
So when do you sleep? Like, how does your day look like?
My day starts at 12. Starts at 12, ends at 10.
Oh, it's a late,
10,
late day.
10:30 is normally when the day ends. So I'm selling there, right? I'm selling there. What am I selling to my people? I'm selling to my people that, guys, man, stay with us, right?
The vision.
The vision. Why should you stay with us? What sort of career we can build for you? What sort of learning path I can create for you, right? Obviously with action, not without action, right? Otherwise it will be just a salesman without content, right? What sort of career path ABI can create for you? What sort of learning path I want to create for you? Why ABI is the right place for you to work? So I'm selling ABI as an employer to everybody who's working for me, right? So I have a technical role which is about reviewing my solutions, right? Seeing whether somebody is over-engineering the solutions. Are we using the right techniques in the right place? For me, the simplest solutions makes the biggest difference. So I always, advocate simplest solutions rather than most complex solutions. So I have a technical role which is about reviewing the work that my team is doing, ensuring that we are doing the right techniques. We are not over-engineering all of that. After that, my role is selling. I sell my company outside. I sell my domain within the company. I sell, a dream to my own people, saying why you should stay with ABI.
So if you talk about people, right, now on the floors of a lot of these tech companies, there's this fear of AI, fear of generative AI, that with automation, with Copilot, with code generators and all coming up into picture, will a lot of people on the floors of tech companies lose jobs? Now, what is your thought on that?
Yep. I can talk about my perspective, right? First thing I would always believe in my head is that you cannot stop eventualities that happens, right? Because I keep on giving this lame example, right? When I was young, we had video cassettes, right? That video cassette shops which would rent video cassettes. Then there were CD shops that would rent CD. Today, can you see any of them? No, right? It all got obsolete. So this is also an evolution, right? When computers came first, people said, man, there will be no work for anybody because computers will kill everybody's job. Then machine learning and AI came. When RPA came, RPA is very recent, right? When RPA came, people said, man, RPA, now there won't be anybody with any job on planet Earth because RPA will,
change the game.
Robotic process automation and AI together will kill every job. Has it killed?
No.
It has killed jobs that should have got killed. Remember, Raghav, right? When I came to India in 2011, a big portion of the centers in India was people who were looking at PDFs and copying that PDF into Excel. Is it
data entry.
Is it a work that humans should do?
No.
So it killed the jobs that it should have killed. Now coming to Gen AI. Gen AI will have an impact. It will bring big efficiencies in technology. It will make your code, replication, coding much more easier. Copilot, for example, is supposed to be revolutionary. We have a license now. We are doing our pilot now in Copilot, right? And we are taking a target of at least 20% efficiency through Copilot, right? So these technologies are all enablers, right? The most complex, machinery on planet Earth is our brain, a human brain, right? If I'm not wrong, none of the computers manage to replicate human brain beyond that of age of 8 or 9 or whatever, right? I don't know real numbers, but I believe the biggest, the most complex, most advanced engine on planet Earth is our brain.
Well said.
And we should use it for the right purpose, right? If you're using your brain for maintaining a code repository, what joy is going to bring it to you, right? There is much more things that we need to do, right? Some interesting stats, Raghav, right? Every year we are generating, nowadays, right? Every year we are generating 3 times more than the data that we ever generated in the entire lifetime of human beings, right? Not human beings, extensions of human beings, right? Storage is becoming cheaper, technology is becoming cheaper, right? Your processing speed is becoming cheaper. There is much more for us to do with the science that we have. So we should be very, very welcoming to every science that comes in our path. It was machine learning some time back, then it was deep learning some later. RPA came, along the way. Now it's Gen AI. So I would say that we shouldn't be fearing any of this, but we need to understand one thing. Today, building a 25-year career is not about learning one technology and assuming that you will retire with that technology, right? I keep on giving this example, right? I don't know if you heard about MicroStrategy, right? there was a tool, there was a BI tool at that point in time. It was a code-based, BI tool, right? One of the highest paid jobs at that time in Tesco. Today, my 13-year-old son can do Power BI dashboards, right? The BI got completely democratized. So if somebody who was specialist in MicroStrategy, right? If you say that I want upskill,
he's out.
He's out. He's obsolete. So all I'm telling to you, today's youngsters is learning is a real continuous journey throughout your life. If you want to maintain a 30-year or 25 or 30-year career, you need to be up for learning. You need to learn new. So today what you should do, what is the most fanciest word today? Prompt engineering.
I was coming to that.
Apparently a prompt engineer's salary is 5 times or 10 times
What
more.
is a prompt engineer? Because what happens, there's a lot of confusion around it.
Yeah.
What is a prompt engineer?
Honestly, I'm not an expert to tell you what is prompt engineer, but it's all about the art of asking questions to
logic.
To creating logic for Gen AI, right?
You need to have a core knowledge.
You should have a coding knowledge, but it's a totally different science. Even we are exploring. We are also.
You guys are doing it?
We are investing heavy on.
So all the talent that we have in Futurense
Yeah.
is now a prompt engineer.
So
what they do is after
every people if that's the case.
Yes.
Right.
Please.
Because that's what I'm saying, right? Data scientist was a big deal. Then came DevOps engineers and your software engineers and Python developers and ML engineers. That became the most important thing. Today is Gen AI. So my advice to, I'm not here to advise, but my view for all the youngsters is be willing to learn. Your lifelong needs to be a learning career path. If you are in tech and analytics, right? In other domains, it could be different, but in tech and analytics, you should be very, very open to learn. If you don't learn and go with the flow, you will become obsolete in no time. As long as you learn, Gen AI is the next biggest opportunity for you. You have to upskill on Gen AI. You will be using your brain for even better things than mundane stuff. Even in data science, right? First time when you do it, it's exciting. Second time when you do it, it's operations. Talk about demand forecasting model. First time you build it, and it's so fancy building a demand forecast. Next time, what are you doing it?
Right.
Doing the same thing. Right. So we have much more to do. I think we don't have that kind of technical talent across the globe who are able to do great job. Right. We are a hub here in India. My request is upskill and start thinking of doing what better things, bigger things that makes bigger difference for the organizations and the world. So I don't think it is something.
How do you see this industry in 2030? AI analytics.
For next 10-15 years, to be honest, right? It's again my perspective. I would see the industry growing because year by year, your cost of storage and the amount of data that you're capturing
is increasing.
Your processing speed and everything is increasing and becoming cheaper and cheaper. Think about it. During my younger days, I used to have a 1 MB storage stick which cost 500 rupees something, right? Today, if you take a Gmail account, you get 15 GB of free storage. Right? So it's growing, but only thing you need to understand is that there is also a concept of democratization of AI. BI got completely democratized. AI is also getting democratized, right? If you think about it, Data Robot, Alteryx, there are a lot of tools that's coming on the way, which is helping in democratization of AI. But how they manage to fully democratize AI? Not fully, right? Most of these tools can build a solution with 50% accuracy, but you need a human brain to take it from 50 to 90, right? But on one side, democratization AI is happening. I'm sure that a lot of democratization will again happen. So the human dependency on these things won't be as high as it's today is all I would feel. Gen AI is making an impact, right? It's reducing the human dependency a little bit. The tools that we see today, like your Data Robot and all are making a difference. So you need to be cognizant that there are also tools coming on your way. So what is making you a niche product or a niche candidate may not be the niche tomorrow.
Fair enough.
So you just need to be upskill. That's it. As long as you're willing to upskill and learn, this space is there to be. It's meant to be flourishing for the next 15 years. Why? Because we are in the start of the journey in many spaces.
So now I understand from a operations viewpoint where you say that we will use Gen AI and all of that. Now let's say someone is an entrepreneur in India and they aspire to build something on AI. Now you would know recently Sam Altman came to India, and he said that it's hopeless. Again, the statement he said was on a different word, but basically what people took out of it was it's hopeless for any Indian startup to compete with an OpenAI or to really build something in generative AI. What do you want to give message to an Indian entrepreneur?
My take on this, Raghav, is you need to have a USP, right? Technology is immaterial. You need to have an USP, and you had an USP in the form of Futurense, right? Why this model is working? Because you had a seed, you had a thought process of something, which can transform the industry.
Right.
So I don't think I don't think we are limited by technology today, right? I don't know which technique to use. I don't know which technology to make it successful. No. It's just that you should have the right thought process. Every entrepreneur today, so if everybody is starting again just another boutique data science shop, I don't think how many of them will be successful. I don't know, right? There was a time when a lot of companies came in, right? A lot of big companies that you see, including Fractal, all of that, hugely successful today, but they started at the right time, right? Today, anybody is starting, they should start with a USP. What is your USP? What is your unique selling point? If you have a unique thought, I still believe that, man, entrepreneurs will thrive as long as humans exist. The only thing is, what is your niche? What are you solving? Right? That makes a big difference. You should have the right ideas. That's what matters. I don't think it's about technology, whether I can compete with Gen AI or the technology. I don't think it doesn't matter. If anybody can do, we can do.
Solutioning, basically.
Solutioning is not the big deal. What are you trying to solve? How much of a difference it will make to the humankind?
Well said.
That's what makes a difference.
So Vijoe, one last question. I think this was a very fun chat. One last question, which we ask. An advice you would want to give to me. I'm 23 years old. Any 23-year-old who's watching this podcast, 1 or 2 pieces of advice you want to give to them.
I will give the first advice to the 23-year-old, normal 23-year-olds watching this podcast, not outliers, right? So, every time, right? Everybody, throughout, from my college days, we all are worried about what will happen to our future, right? Who's going to guide me, all of that. But today, so much of information is available to today's generation, right? They are well read compared to the previous generations. There are so much of exposure that they get to understand, right? What is good for them, what is not good for them, right? So first and foremost, understand that you should find a role that excites you. Everything in the world won't excite you, right?
Passion.
You should have passion for what you do. I talked about my example, right? I went for because everybody said, your e-commerce is the biggest deal. I went for that thinking I will learn e-commerce and I'll make money out of it. I found it miserable after 3 months. I found that statistics is a big deal because people are talking about statistics a lot at that time. I went for that. I found that it's not exciting for me. So find a job that's exciting for you. So don't go with this concept of this job pays most in the market, so I'm going to do this job. Right? Don't go with that thing, right?
Right.
Understand whether that's what excites you, right? So get into a role that excites you, right? That's first thing, right? Salary, remuneration, all come second, right? We will all get there, right? You're skilled in any role,
you'll make money.
You'll make money, right? You have to be good in it. You're a painter, you're a photographer, you're a director, you name it, right? Whatever you are, right? You will make money if you're good at it. So find a role find a profession that excites you, first of all. Don't go with this idea of highest paid job is this job family, so I'll go and learn this and I'll become successful. You need to have a flair for it. Second thing is, whichever job you are, you need to be willing to upskill, right?
Constantly.
Any job. Think about it's a lame example again. A filmmaker, right? Every day he has to reinvent, right? Every day he has to reinvent. Every profession you are in today, you need to reinvent yourselves every day.
True.
If you don't reinvent yourselves, you're obsolete.
You're out.
Because you are competing against a crowd who's competing. They are upskilling themselves every day. They are reading every day. So be open to learning. Be open to reading, upskill, and take it easy. That's all.
Perfect. I think this was super duper fun. I got to learn a lot. At the same time, the clarity of thought. I think this was superb. Thank you so much, Vijoe. Really, really appreciate your time.
Thanks, Raghav. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you.